My mother was a very kind, quiet, living little woman. Nothing was too much for her. No, she was a wonderful little woman. My dad was the same, but my dad was very strict. He wouldn't stand any nonsense. No nonsense. My dad was very strict, but very fair, and a wonderful farmer. Oh, my dad was a wonderful farmer. Everything had to be just so on his farm. And my mother was the same. She was so, what shall I say, so cute, and hard work was never to her, and she had the farmhouse was so big rooms, and no electricity, nothing like that. But we all managed. We went to bed with a candle and lamps. Oh. No, my mother was a wonderful little person. She lived till she was about 84, I think. She was about 84 when she died. And my granny, I had a wonderful granny too, a wonderful granny. And she used to dress, you know, today you wouldn't think they were grannies, but my granny, long black cloaks. She was almost in black, right down to her leg, you know, to her feet. They were covered in black in those days, my dear old granny. She was also, but she suffered with cataract. She lost her eyes quite young. But she was a wonderful granny, and she lived with us, and then she would go and live with her sister for some, you know, sometimes she'd go and live with her daughter. That's right, and she spent a lot of time with my mother. She was a small little woman like me, I think, but a wonderful life. We had wonderful life in those days. Quiet, but happy. We were always happy, I think, happy. I was always interested in church work. I love my church. I was christened in that church. I was christened in that church. I was confirmed in the church, and I was married in that lovely church. And today, I'm sad to say, but perhaps happy, my husband's ashes rest in that lovely British churchyard. We used to decorate the churches for the Easter. We used to go and gather the primroses and decorate the church. But I think the primroses and then daffodils. If Easter was late, we used to say, oh, the daffodils will not be ready, for Easter's early. If Easter's early, the daffodils will not be out. I remember that so well. Then came the harvest, Thanksgiving. Oh, us children, my two sisters and other friends from the church used to decorate the church so well. But I mustn't forget about Easter, was the best, with those little primroses we used to gather. And we used to put the primroses round the font with moss. We used to gather moss, and we used to put the little primroses in little jars round the font. That was our best thing at Easter decoration. Then, of course, at harvest time, there was all the lovely fruit we grew in the field, the different corn, and people would bring their fruit, people would bring eggs and everything to make the harvest Thanksgiving wonderful. And then they say, we used to sing that song, now thank we all our God. Everything was gathered in. But then at Christmas time, it was just as lovely. We used to decorate with holly, you know, and sometimes we used to find a little piece of mistletoe and put that in with the holly, which, you know, in England, if you get kissed under the mistletoe, that's wonderful. We used to have fun with the holly and mistletoe at Christmas time when we were children. We had a special tree that used to grow the mistletoe, and we used to hide it when we had party, we used to hide it under the holly, and they'd get kissed under the mistletoe. Oh, what fun. When we used to have the parties, we used to play Postman's Knock, and you see, and then they'd go through there and they'd be kissed under the mistletoe, and they didn't know the mistletoe was there. Oh, what fun. No, we had lovely Christmas parties, lovely Christmas, from different farmhouses. We've had a party at our farmhouse and then next farmhouse. They'd all be different, but anyhow, we had lovely Christmas parties. And my dad often, in those days, my dad used to come and fetch us with a pony and trap, and we used to say, Dad, we're not ready to go home, let us stay on. And he'd stay a little while. Pony and trap they used to fetch us with. No cars in, very few cars when I was a child, very few cars. But the pony and traps, my dad used to drive long way to Norwich till he was a farmer. He used to drive a long way every Saturday morning to the market at Norwich, 8 miles, pony and trap, come home in the dark with a lantern on the cart. But we didn't think anything different. It was life. We were happy crowd in the village. I knew everybody almost. I used to take the church magazine round and they'd have the money ready on the windowsill. I think there was about threepence for a church magazine once a month. Oh no, I knew everybody in the village. I think I knew everybody in the village. I was friendly and I loved people. I also remember what my husband, my sister's husband used to say, Ida, always make time for friends. They are precious. And that's what I've tried to do, make time for friends. They are really precious. And the family too, all very, people are precious. They were in those days, perhaps not so much today, because there's so much they take part in, you know. We were just quiet little people, years gone by.
Now, how did you heat the water and flush the toilets?
We didn't used to flush the toilets in those days. That was the worst part. No. When I was a child, there was no flush just until I was about 14, I suppose. No, that wasn't very nice, but we didn't think anything different. We used to go down the garden path to the toilet. That's what we used to do. It was only towards the end that Dad had a flush toilet in that big old house, yes. No, we didn't think anything different. We didn't know any different. We heated all the water with coal and wood. We had no electricity. We always had the fire. We always had hot water with the copper heated by coal and wood. Yes, my dad used to have a truck of coal come from it. There used to be a truck at the station and they used to carry this coal home by the wagon down to the farmhouse. He had a truck of coal. We had coal for the house and he had coal for the engine, etc., etc. Yes, and then they used to bring bags of coal into our. That was very badly rained, the old hall, because they had to bring the coal through the kitchen to the coal house. That was very bad. We were cross about that. The coal had to come into bags and into the coal house, and the coal house was in a part of the kitchen. Not a part, I mean, it was separate. But there it was, the coal house was where we kept all the coal in a part of the. No, it was boarded off. We never saw it. We had a door, but we all said that was very badly planned. But that's 400 or 500 years ago.